Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be looking at the current polls for each state in the 2024 election. So there's been a few updates as of recently. Biden has been doing a bit better in some of the swing state polling and especially the national polling. He's been catching up against Trump because he started spending his campaign money for once. But let's get right into it. So we're just going to set up like the first few obvious states. It's just a lot of safe blue ones. New York, most polls here just keep showing Biden over 10% lead for him, so it's off the board. Let's see. Let's keep filling in these states. Delaware, D.C., these are all just going to go to Biden. Now the safe Trump states. Okay, let's see. We don't really have a lot of Nebraska polling, especially with each district and how they're going to vote. So we're pretty much going to have to guess on Nebraska's second district, but I think it's a educated guess. So I think I set up most of the states here. Let's get right into it. So the first few states I'm going to start off with is, I guess we could start off with going through the west to the east. I think that would be a good way of doing this. But I think we'll start off with some western states first. So Utah, recent polls have it either a Trump plus 9 lead or a Trump plus 10 lead. So we average that out, and it's a Trump 9.5% lead. I really don't expect Utah to go to likely Republican. I do expect it to trend a little bit more in the Democrats' favor, but I don't think it's going to go below 10. But currently, that's what the polls show. It shows Utah by an under 10% margin, which I highly doubt. Colorado, it's now gone back over an over 10% margin, so it's pretty much a safe blue state. Going into Alaska, polls show Trump up here by 12 or 11 points, so it's a safe Republican state as of right now. Going into Arizona, surprisingly, Trump still polls fairly well here, but I don't think it's going to last. But according to the polls, Trump's up here by about an average of 5 percentage points, so it's pretty considerable, but he has a likely Republican lead here, just about 5%. Nevada, it's actually narrowed up quite a bit. Trump's only up here by 2 or 3 points as of right now, so this is only a lean Republican state now. It used to be likely Republican in the past. Moving on to Texas, we've got a ton of polls here, but Trump so far, he's up by about 7 or 8 to 9 points. Typically, that's what polls show him up here, so I have this as a likely state. Moving on to New Mexico, polls still show it as a likely blue state. Biden's up by about 8% here. Let's see. Nebraska's second. Again, I said we're probably going to have the guess on here, but my margin, if I were to guess, I think if a poll came out here, Biden would probably be up by about 4 percentage points, I would say. So that's just my estimate there. So that's my best guess. It'll be a 4% Biden lead. So Iowa is just, the Seltzer poll shows Trump up here by 15 points or something like it's either 13 or 15. I'm pretty sure it is 15 percentage points. But Seltzer is the best pollster in Iowa. Iowa is pretty much a safe red state as of right now. Plus, I don't think Biden's really going to try a win here. It's just off the board. It's turning into another Missouri at this point, a state that just trends for the Republicans long term. And that's mainly because of white working class voters shifting towards the Republican Party. Trump really won them over, and Trump's just going to continue to expand on his lead in Iowa because I don't think Biden's going to really invest any time there. Recent poll done in Illinois shows Biden only up with a 9% lead. I don't think that's actually going to happen, but according to the polls, Biden is in a likely margin lead right now in that state. So moving on to South Carolina, Trump continues to dominate here. He has an over 10 percentage point lead. It's like 15 or 16 point lead in South Carolina. So it's a safe red state. Moving on to Florida, two recent polls have it as an 11-point lead for Trump and a 13-point lead for Trump. That was an Emerson poll that showed that. So just according to the most recent polls, Trump's up here by an over 10% margin, which would make it a safe Republican state. And honestly, I could kind of see it because just the trends for Democrats here are just brutal. Republicans keep out-registering them for party members in the state of Florida. And overall, there's a lot of people moving down to Florida that are just right-wing voters that really saw and liked how Ron DeSantis governed in the state of Florida, which made them want to move there. So for now, according to the polls, it's a safe red state. Ohio, Trump's either up here by 11 or 12 points in the polling, so that would also make it a safe red state. Let's head to the Northeast states. So Connecticut, New Jersey, recent polls here just have it as a likely blue margins here. I think they'll probably be safe blue come by the election, but currently Biden's only up here by 9 points each in both of these states, recent polls. Moving on to New Hampshire, Biden, this is one of his best swing state. He continues to lead her by 7 percentage points, so I have this as a likely blue state. Maine, it's really unpredictable. The polls we're getting for Maine it either has like a very low sample size or just kind of an outlier result. But just by averaging the recent polls for Maine, I would have this as a lean blue state according to the polls. While Maine's first is, of course, a safe blue district, and Maine's second is a safe Republican district. So moving on to the state of Virginia, a recent poll here had Biden up by about 5 percentage points, so it'd put this as a likely blue state. North Carolina and Georgia have narrowed a bit. Trump only leads here by about 2 or 3 points in each of these two states, so it's no longer a likely Republican lead for Trump in both of these two states. Biden has narrowed the gap considerably in these two swing states because he's actually starting to invest money in buying ads in both of these two states and opening field offices, which will definitely help Biden out in both these two swing states. So they're only lean Republican victories here, according to the polls currently. So Trump's at 268, Biden's at 216. If Biden sweeps these Rust Belt states, he wins the presidency because of that one electoral vote in Nebraska's second, which is kind of crazy to think about that narrow of a win. Let's head over to Minnesota. Currently, Biden's only up here by 2 percentage points, probably due to third-party vote share just eating up Biden's margins here, and the uncommitted, in the primary contest, the uncommitted, what would you call that? People just vote uncommitted here because they're trying to protest vote against Biden's handling with the situation in Gaza. So it's really just protest voters here in Minnesota, but at the end of the day, I think they'll probably end up going back to Biden because they'll see him as a lesser evil. But currently, according to the polls, Biden's up here by a narrow 2 to 4% margin, so I'd probably put this as a lean blue state according to the polls. In Pennsylvania, Biden still continues to do fairly well here, especially with in-state pollsters, while out-of-state pollsters show Trump with a lead. But as of right now, by averaging the polls here, I would have Biden up here by a tilt blue margin. So in Wisconsin and Michigan, the polls have also narrowed up a bit in favor of Joe Biden. No longer does Trump lead here by such large margins. In Michigan, it's no longer a likely Republican margin or a lean one. It is now a tilt margin. So Biden's just pretty much in the margin of error here. So he just needs a few more polls to go his way, and he'll probably be able to take the lead in the state of Michigan. Moving on to the state of Wisconsin, polls have always showed this as an extremely close contest. Like Trump is only up here by 1, Biden's only up here by 1, Biden and Trump are tied like 46 to 46. But so far, more polls have showed Trump in the lead here by a tilt margin. So I would probably have this as a tilt Republican state. But honestly, judging by the trend of how these in-state polls are going, I think we're probably going to see Biden catch up in Michigan and Wisconsin, leading to such a narrow electoral college victory for him. But currently, this is how the polls are situated, but there's a lot of trends going in Biden's favor in pretty much most of these swing states. But as of right now, Trump leads in more in-state polls across these swing states, but not by much, and that advantage is definitely narrowing as we go on through the election season. But other than that, that's currently what the polls show on average for most of these states. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, I'd highly recommend subscribing if you enjoy political videos like this. And let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree on something in this video. Always interested in hearing your feedback. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next one.